Hey, this is Matt. Once again, what about two videos? The paid request this time for Jonathan Lindsey. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for Batman SubZero, a movie that came out. I did supposed to come out earlier, but they wanted to kind of shy away from the Batman and Robin, not controversy, but just how bad it was. Put a little distance between the two. So then it came out in 1998. Now, I will say, like I said, I've seen a lot of the Batman, the animated series episodes. I've enjoyed quite a few of them. The movies, like Master of Phantasm, I don't mind. My favorites would be, of that era, Batman. I would say Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker, I was pleasantly surprised by. My all-time favorite animated Batman film is The Dark Knight Returns, with Peter Weller voicing him, Batman. But yeah, Kevin Conroy always did a wonderful job. He had that strong commitment as Batman. This does feature Mr. Freeze. It's about an hour and 6 minutes, give or take. It does feel like an elongated episode of the show. So visual-wise, it doesn't seem anything that stands out too drastic compared to the show. In fact, I kind of still miss the older artwork of the first season or so. I do think that was better artwork, or at least more pleasing to me. It was more like the Fleischer Superman cartoons, but then they kind of, as the season went on, they changed it up a bit. It's not that the show looks awful to me. It's just, again, I prefer the designs and animation in the first one or two seasons. And like I said, this was okay. I would say this was an okay movie. I didn't love it, but it wasn't too bad. It's much better than Batman and Robin because at least it's taking the Mr. Freeze character seriously. At least it's trying to have a little bit more of a dramatic story with the whole motif of Mr. Freeze's wife and this race against time to save her life, and it's all Mr. Freeze cares about, which is understandable. It's not as campy and silly and stupid like Batman and Robin. It doesn't have bad credit cards. It doesn't have Poison Ivy being ridiculous. It doesn't have Mr. Freeze with, was it polar bear stuff on his feet, slippers, trying to get people to sing a cartoon Christmas song, whatever the fuck it was. Does it have Mr. Freeze saying a lot of bad puns? Cool down. What killed the dinosaur? The outside. It doesn't have that. So, because of his short running time, because they're trying to take it a bit more seriously, it's a lot easier watch compared to Batman and Robin. It is. And it is a better Mr. Freeze movie. But it's not the best Mr. Freeze product I've seen. I would still give it a Heart of Ice. And maybe even one or two other episodes of the show. Just number one, I thought it started off fine with him in the Arctic. He has this adoptive son and these two polar bears. I wish there was a bit more between Mr. Freeze and this kid to show how much Mr. Freeze cares for this kid, or how much the kid cares about Mr. Freeze. A bit more of their friendship. Maybe a bit more backstory of how this kid became adopted by Mr. Freeze. I think there's maybe some drama or some emotion you could dig up from that. I don't like the fact that Batman pretty much has an extended cameo in this, which I think is a mistake. It's called Batman SubZero, and Batman is barely in the damn thing. This is more of a Barbara Gordon and Robin story. Because, yeah, you do see Batman and Robin stop two jewel thieves, and Bats is on top of a car, and Robin does some stuff. Meanwhile, a submarine accidentally gets through the area that Mr. Freeze is at, fucks up his wife Nora's encasement, so he freezes that crew. I don't know if that crew is dead because you never see them again. Even by the end of the movie, you never see them, so they could still be frozen there today. So it's one of those that's kind of hard to feel sorry for Mr. Freeze, where I think he just froze all these people and they're still there dead. Because you never see Batman or anybody finding them. At least I don't think they ever mention that. I could be wrong. If I am, I apologize. So Freeze, he gets to the city, finds a colleague, wants his help, finds out Nora needs a organ transplant, and the best donor is Barbara, who of course is Batgirl, related to Commissioner Gordon. Barbara and Dick Grayson are going out on a date. Mr. Freeze comes in, wrecks shop, kidnaps her. Dick Grayson tries to fight, but Polar Bear smacks his ass and bitch slaps him. Dick Grayson gets on a motorcycle, does his impersonation of Evel Knievel. And, some people make fun of some of the CG animated bits. There's not a whole lot of them. I didn't mind them as much as other people did. Maybe because I know this is still a film that went straight to video and I've seen much, much worse. I thought, like, the bit where Robin, or Dick Grayson's on a motorcycle, he does this sort of slide. And he has to get off and grab onto this tree. I didn't mind the way that looked. But at the same time, there wasn't anything that made me go, whoa, or wow. To really feel like an epic part of a movie, if that makes sense. The grand scale of a movie. Like I said, it did feel like more of an extended episode of the TV show. Which is not bad, because it was a good TV show and cartoon. I'm just saying, maybe I was hoping for either more action or bigger set pieces, or maybe a bit more emotion of Mr. Freeze. Maybe learn a bit more of him trying to, even more of trying to get Barbara to help him because he's so gung-ho about saving his wife. Or again, maybe Mr. Freeze's relationship with the son he adopted, and some back and forth. And like I said, Batman doesn't get to do a whole lot. After the beginning, does a little bit of investigating. Nice bit of the bat plane gliding over the water to get to the shit where Freeze is on. You get to see Barbara showcase some acrobatics. Trying to escape, she gets caught. Mr. Freeze lies to the kids saying we were not going to hurt her. But they are, because organ transplants. Not going to end well. Freeze's colleague makes a phone call. Batman and Robin overhear, and they hear a horn. So that's when they know Mr. Freeze is on a ship. They get there. A little bit of action. The ship is on fire. Debris is falling. But did Batman barely gets to do anything? He barely gets to... It's not like he's not in it at all, but it's just... You just feel like he's in the background a lot in this. And you don't really get to find anything new about Mr. Freeze. You don't really get to find anything new about Barbara Gordon. I mean, yeah, it's better than Batman and Robin because it's only an hour and change. And you still have the capable voice cast. Kevin Conroy, may he rest in peace, did a wonderful job as Batman. Michael Ansara comes back for Dr. Freeze, Mr. Freeze. One of the better villains of the cartoon. Lauren Lester even did a decent job as Dick Grayson / Robin. The voice of Barbara and Commissioner Gordon. Voices are solid. Have no issues with them. Because it's a short enough film, I didn't find it too boring. But I will say there's certain moments I'm kind of looking at the clock going, okay. I just wish it was just more exciting, more emotional, more Batman, and more... Like, Heart of Ice, where you got to the end of that, you really felt the emotion. I didn't feel that in this. It wanted me to. Spoiler alert, folks. The ship's blowing up. He's saying, no, please, Batman, please save my wife. Can you imagine the Batman going, fuck you, Freeze, I ain't doing shit. You tried to kill Barbara, you tried to kill everybody, fuck you. But that ain't Batman, of course. Understandably. So he saves Nora, saves the little kid. Mr. Freeze falls to the water. The polar bears are going back. It's funny, I keep saying polar bears. It keeps making me think of fucking John Peters and the Superman story. Have polar bears be guards. Why does Superman need guards? You know what polar bears are? They're the most ferocious animal in the animal kingdom. Did John Peters produce this? I don't know. I can't help it. Keep thinking of that. But what I'm talking about when they're trying to have the emotion is when Batman and them escape, it cuts to a news program in the Arctic, and Mr. Freeze has a cast on his leg. He's with the two polar bears. He's looking at the TV and overhears that Nora will be alive. The transplant was a success. She's alive. He's happy, and he walks off. And I'm like, well, thank God for those people who you froze to death. And because isn't one of those things that if you don't unfreeze them in a certain amount of time, they die? I don't know if they got unfrozen later, but if not, they're dead. So thank God Freeze got, well, Nora is innocent, to be fair. But Freeze won. Freeze got what he wanted. He wanted his wife to survive, and it did. And he gets no punishment. His wife's alive, and he gets to live free with the polar bears in the Arctic. But I just didn't feel the emotional impact. I mean, like I said, the episodes of the show kind of did this already. Like Heart of Ice, and I forget what the hell the other episode. The episode where was the island where the other bad guy wanted to flood Gotham, and Batman's like, well, what would your wife think of this? Would she be happy with what you were doing? And then Mr. Freeze listens to Batman, and then Freeze is the one bad guy, and then him and her glide off. Which I think that's actually the one right before this. That was the last that we had seen Mr. Freeze. Oh, I just felt like if this was supposed to be like a big end for Mr. Freeze at the time, which I don't know if it was. I think they might have done stuff later. I can't remember. It felt like we just went in a circle. Kind of just felt like we went in a circle. We didn't learn anything about Mr. Freeze. We didn't learn anything about, again, Barbara, which she showcased a lot. And I don't hate Batgirl. I just don't give a fuck about Batgirl. I don't know if that makes sense. And she's not really Batgirl. She's just Barbara, I should say. So I just don't give a fuck about Barbara. It's that I don't hate Barbara. I don't give a shit about Barbara. I give more shit about Batman and Batman SubZero. I wanted Batman to be more part of it. I wanted Batman to do more. I wanted more Mr. Freeze and more emotion and more in depth to his character and this dilemma of this is what my wife would do. My wife would not be happy with this. The son, the whole emotional portion could have been put more into that. And it wasn't the case. That's why I'll give Master of the Phantasm over this. Because Master of the Phantasm tried to put at least a little bit more emotion with the love story between Bruce and the lady there. So you are learning a bit more about Bruce Wayne and how he was ready to quit being Batman to be in love with this girl. To quit being Batman before he began. Like, he wasn't even Batman yet. Like, this journey he was going to start on, I'm going to stop this and be with this girl. But when she left, that's when he really kicked him into high gear to be Batman. See, you learn something about Bruce Wayne. I would give credit to that movie, Master of Phantasm. So, between Master of Phantasm, Return of the Joker, Batman Beyond, and this, of the three, I would say this is my least favorite. This is a film I would never watch again. But again, at least it's short enough, for the most part, to the point. Has a very capable voice cast. The music, just like the show, I like that at the very beginning you do hear a bit of that Danny Elfman feel at the opening credit, the opening title. I thought that was a nice touch. And it's a lot easier to watch and less headache inducing than Batman and Robin. It's just, I still expected better. Because again, Heart of Ice did better in 20 minutes than what this did in an hour, in my opinion. Is that an awful film? Is that a terrible film? I will say I'm a bit disappointed. Because the other Mr. Freeze episodes were fairly good. This, I expected a bit more. Given more time. Given... This felt like more of... We got to showcase more of Barbara. We got to tell the audience what Barbara can do. And yeah, she's kidnapped, but she's trying to escape. She's independent. She's acrobatic. Do we know more about her character? Not really. So I did expect more out of this. So mildly not mildly, disappointed. I'm disappointed in this, I will say. It's not a rant, it's not an awful film, but disappointed. So with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.